Okay, so now we're live. Yay. Okay, so just we wanted to touch base with everyone. First of all, it's been like almost a year, I think, since we actually were together as a group. Um, we kind of wanted just to reconvene and figure out what our next steps are as a group. So we're going to reflect a little bit of how the year has been going in the Twitterverse for What a World, and then see, share with you some of our thoughts that we have, get some feedback, and see how we can continue to grow this thing. So, Tanya, you want to start off with Snowvember and kind of share some insights?
So, hi guys. I'm hearing myself. If everyone else can mute, thanks. So we wanted to point out, I guess, what's becoming the obvious now, which is that last Thursday, was it Thursday when we had our snow? No, it wasn't. Thursday was Thanksgiving. When we had our stoppage of 280 and snow and everything, it was really clear that Bob Klempt and a lot of other principals, Joanne, teachers from different schools were ahead of their story by using Twitter to communicate to their parents, who were very upset and very frustrated. And they got to see that their kids were okay, that they were being taken care of. And when Evany sent a message to all of the supervisors and principals saying, "Are you tweeting?" It was Diana and I were like, wow. I mean, that is a 180 in terms of understanding that this is not a tool to be feared, but this is a tool that is, actually a way for you to recommand your story. So, Bob got national news attention. People were calling his teachers from California, from all over the country, saying, I saw you on the news. And it was all because he was continually tweeting through the night, as were, I probably, of our 11 schools, there were 10 that were really using the tool. And now I think people understand what's possible. Today, the science supervisor, Stephanie Soriano, asked me to come to the high school because she tweeted just a suggestion, and her middle school teachers who were online immediately they used her suggestion in a class the next day, and those who are not kind of in the Twitter sphere are sort of asleep to it. So she wanted me to go to the high school to kind of show what you guys are doing in elementary and middle schools and how you're capitalizing on it. And the message is getting received. So that's what we wanted to say.
So we just wanted to hear from you all. What is this past year? I think we met in December. I should have that date. Last year, or no, February. It doesn't matter. We're coming upon a year of actually this formation. What, as far as like your personal participation in Twitter, have you seen any growth? Are there any roadblocks to your participation? We've been pretty on point with our having our monthly chats. And, numbers have been kind of going up and down. We kind of range in the 30 to 40 participant range with most of our chats. And we have an upcoming challenge that we want to kind of revive the whole Twitterverse for the What a World community. So what kind of growth, what kind of roadblocks, what has the conversation shifted for you or with your colleagues? So just take a couple minutes. If you unmute yourself and just let us know any thoughts. Crickets.
I guess I'll just go. I don't know. Oh, okay. I'll mute.
Carrie, you're next.
Did I do it?
Go ahead, Christy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. Hi. So one thing I noticed was a lot of people, a lot of the new teachers are more active, I think, on Twitter. And that kind of like buzz about like, oh yeah, check out Twitter. Like even if somebody checks it out maybe once every 2 weeks, it seems like they're trying to keep up with their profile, which at least is like a step towards using it more. That's what I've noticed.
Carrie?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I think to me, what I've noticed like a lot of people use Facebook and Instagram more than Twitter. I've always been a Twitter person long before we started the Twitter initiative because I follow chefs. And so I've always been very comfortable with it more so than anything else. But I've actually joined Instagram and went back on Facebook simply because I've noticed that I have more friends on Facebook and Instagram than I do Twitter. And I do connect with other teachers across the district who are taking part of the Twitter initiative. So I've started Instagramming and connected Instagram to the Twitter to try and draw in more people who are tweeting and who are Instagram and vice versa. And I'm considering connecting the Facebook account to it too, but I worry about that's too much for me. I'm kind of like a low key person, but I think in order to bring more people in the district, that it might be necessary to kind of bridge the gap between all three. Because I went back on Facebook and I'm like, oh my gosh, like so many people in my building on Facebook that's not on Twitter. And so maybe we might need to kind of bridge the gap between them to get more people involved with this social media thing that we're doing in education. Just an idea.
I have to say, like back in the day, like my Facebook and Facebook just in general was more of like my personal stuff. But within the last 2 years, I've connected with professionals, like not within our own circles. I still find it social, but there's a lot of robust educator groups. I at least in Facebook, Instagram, I'm still trying to figure out, besides the visual, there are some really great resources. I don't know, like, I guess I'm just not a huge Instagrammer, right? Like, I'll just post, still keeping it personal.
Yeah, it's the hashtags that's really important. I'm noticing, like, the hashtags, just as important as it is on Twitter. I've noticed that there's certain hashtags, like for Scholastic or different education groups too, that you can bring into Instagram, and that kind of bridges that gap too. But yeah, it's more pictorial, but posting a lot of the things that we do. And again, there's a lot of people on Instagram, but I know sometimes people like, oh, I don't want to put, be on Twitter because of personal stuff. And I'm like, well, then don't put personal stuff. I mean, just, make 2 accounts, as possible. So I think using these other avenues and bridging it with Twitter might bring more people in.
And I think a good point that you bring up too, maybe we could team up with Perry, is promoting like our upcoming ed chats through Instagram, through Facebook, so that people will take note, and I don't know how we feel, but like personally, if you're an educator and you live in West Orange, but you don't teach in West Orange, I think it's still an invitation to participate. We get people from outside generally, so that could be something we can look into, to use the other two and then get some more, maybe we're then not a Twitter task force team, but something else, social media, social something. Any other thoughts?
Just, I know that that's kind of something that we're struggling with in our building at Gregory.
we have a new principal who we had our trailers taken away. We've had like one disaster after another. And I have like on my to-do list that, and she even said, I'm like, we'll set it up together. She doesn't always have to post. I can post kind of similar to how Redwood does it, how they have the separate kind of thing that I'm assuming is run by teachers. And then their principal also has a Twitter. So that's kind of been my challenge, is to get our new principal on board and hopefully our assistant principal. But we also have a lot of teachers that have Instagram accounts for their classroom. So I agree with Kerry to see if we can somehow connect the two. Because I think our PTA does a lot on Instagram and Facebook, and they have a Twitter account, and I've been trying to get them to use it so that they can kind of retweet things that our teachers are posting on Twitter, but just try to find a way to kind of connect them has been what I've been trying to do. I've been like falling off the deep end because I'm pregnant and I've been really sick. So I've been falling asleep during the Twitter chats, so I apologize for not participating. But I've been trying to add that to my list of things to do. So, but I agree with Carrie. I think that everybody's kind of on a bunch of mishmash of things, like find a way to kind of combine them so that we kind of have a central message. And I feel like Twitter is a good way to do that. I just don't know how we can get people on board that have other platforms, how to get them to jump on. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, congrats. That's
Thank you.
When is baby arriving?
April.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, thanks.
I wanted to ask, are you guys noticing a difference between the demography of the different places? Because statistically, I know that, there are different audiences. And so I'm wondering if you're getting some of your teacher friends who've been established for a while as teachers more on Facebook than you are. Are you getting, I noticed that the art teachers seem to be using Instagram because it's so visual and you don't have to post a lot of stuff. I actually prefer Twitter because I do see the information. I see I like the microblogging aspects of it, so I seek expertise on Twitter, whereas for the communicating like about what's going on with the buses and everything like that, I could see having to go to Facebook. So are you noticing any trends in who's on what platform?
That's what I wanted to speak to a little bit. I totally agree with what Carrie and Caitlin were saying. I think I have a hard time with, I think, the audience that I have on Twitter, and I think it's great because I think I've connected with like other teachers from the district, but I don't think a lot of my parents are really seeing what's happening. Like I feel like right now it's being more used just to see kind of what's happening across our district with the teachers who are using it. I do have an Instagram account, and I've been, whenever I post on my Instagram, clicking the link so that it's able, like I can share it onto Twitter, but more of my parents are following me on Instagram right now. So I think that there's something about having that that's also really good. And then just in reference to what Caitlin was saying before, our Redwood tweet account is run by myself and 3 other teachers in addition to Tim. And then he also has a separate account just as principal. So that has kind of worked well because everybody's able to kind of jump on and post, but also to retweet things from other teachers, and more hands on deck is definitely better. So that has worked well. But I would like to see like the audience of parents grow, because I feel like that's my main mode of communicating information now on Twitter. And I think a lot of parents are missing it, where in the past I've used Class Dojo and had more parents connected, and I think they were seeing like what was happening in the room more.
And I think that speaks to having to think about, if we are going to keep going this route of, growing the Twitterverse. So when I was in the classroom, I found that I had to have I personally had a parent information night, right? But that was because there's like nobody else doing it kind of thing. So if we have, enough movement, because I get the pain of like, if I'm communicating here, but that was also some of the feedback. Some parents from Liberty would say, I had no idea what was going on. And I'm thinking, wait, you weren't following Bob? Like, so if they weren't on Twitter, they really didn't know what was going on. So we could consider or think about maybe reaching out to PTAs and getting the information out that way, like either myself or Tanya, like doing a little parent info session if you guys want to come along, come on board, but we could think about how we can push that out to parents, because I think that is a missing piece, and especially if you're doing all that like work already and posting content, you want them to be able to connect. So are you, Tanya, you're taking care of that? Maria?
Yeah, I sent him a link, and he's saying he's just seeing one person's face, but he can hear us. Hi, Len.
Oh, is he on the call? Okay.
He hears us. He said hi.
Hey, Len. Okay, great. So just, I think, because I'm looking at time and I know we burned a lot of it just trying to get onto this call. A couple of the things. So thank you for your feedback. Is there any other feedback you want to, like, anybody?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kim.
Yes.
Hi.
So hi. So this year I had to send out permission slips for our makerspace. So on that, I included at the bottom, like, follow to see what we're doing in makerspace, follow me on Twitter, and, put my tag on there. And I got a couple followed, but there hasn't been too many meetings yet. Also, the school newspaper is doing like a little article about it. So they're also going to be sharing the Twitter stuff, like the hashtags and the our school account and things like that. So so I think I'm hoping that we get some more followers, like from our parent community. What? If you want to know who I was talking to. We're also going to be doing a thing with our Jaguar, has been posting. So we're trying to get follow the Jaguars with the Jaguar, like interacting with it on Twitter, like from the classroom, and then post for that. So we're trying to do a little challenge for December and January.
So the teachers like are trying.
Yeah. We want the students to. Well, we used Flipgrid this month. The Jaguar posted on Flipgrid a question, and they had to make a video back to the Jaguar for that. And then for December and January, we're doing something else. We're setting it up. We have to set it up on Wednesday, but it's going to be like the Jaguar is going to go on tour. So like they have to take a picture with the Jaguar and post their picture with the hashtag.
Oh, cool.
Of their student. So.
Okay. So you're trying to promote it. You're getting there at St. Cloud. But I think that parent piece though, the Twitter, it just may be foreign. Some parents that have latched on, they clearly have a presence on Twitter, and then others, it may just not be their mode of communication. So we might want to consider how we can promote it with them if we continue this. Bev, any high school news?
I've got a coughing kid next to me, so we'll see if she can be quiet for a few minutes. Do you hear me? So anyway, I'm happy that there's more high school teachers who are now on board. I'm seeing a lot of global read aloud, people who are getting involved. So I like that. And I was wondering why I had a few science teachers follow me today, and now I know why, Tanya Tomasi. But I myself do not like Facebook. I don't want to go on there. I think it's a black hole of time wasting for me. So I love my Twitter. I love to be able to just put a one snarky line and a couple of pictures. And I just had my Donors Choose project get funded, so I had to tweet that out right away. And that's the way I like it. But you know, I understand that younger people like the Instagram. I just don't have the time to do both. So Jenny has been doing Instagram for us in the library, but to be very honest, I haven't even seen it. So, but I'm not knocking anybody's gram. So yeah, so I'm happy some more teachers and some teachers who, you know, it's not a comfortable thing for them and they are getting involved. And I agree. I think that maybe there's a campaign that we do that you know, communicates more to the parents and even high school kids. I'd love to get more high school kids following me. So that's my 2 cents.
I think that one of the things that I'm noticing at the high school is the supervisors who tend to kind of physically be centered with offices at the high school. The supervisors who are really using it, I would say Liz, Stephanie, Mike Figurito have really, they're changing the culture of their departments in terms of just, they keep bringing articles of expertise, you know, to their faculty, and their faculty don't particularly want to interact with their kids so much, but they do appreciate the widening of their network, you know, their professional network.
So a couple logistic things that I think I want to just move to because it is 9:03. We'll try to like wrap up in 7 minutes, if that's okay, if you guys could hang for another 7. So Tanya and I, you know, we're talking, we obviously, everyone knows this big elephant in the room. It's not an elephant, but with the transition of our leadership, this group was supported and kind of rallied behind with getting subs and that whole thing the one time that we did meet. We were hoping to grow that this year. We're just, Tanya and I are just trying to figure out like who we're going to go to see how we can continue to have time that is within our day. Because I do really appreciate you coming outside of the school day to meet up. This is not ideal, but we can also send out PD certs for this time and any other time. But we just want to let you know we want to be able to meet more regularly than we did last year. Last year was kind of like a launch and then a setup, and then we kind of autopiloted throughout this year. So we still have yet to speak to the powers that be about kind of similarly, Caitlin, like, you know, there's all these big fish to fry. And so we're not coming up to people with like, hey, we want to meet with our Twitter team. But we're going to let the dust settle and try to see if we can get a couple half-day times together where we can collaborate, come together, learn together, and grow this beyond. And now what I'm hearing actually from this is like, this isn't just about Twitter. It's our social presence. And, you know, speaking to Perry last year, he's very much about all 3 prongs, right? Like get them where everyone's communicating. If it's Instagram, it's Facebook, it's Twitter. But that is also a lot to manage. So we have to come up with some sort of game plan with that. So we do want to try to have time throughout the day that we can meet. If that's not granted, like we can't get subs, then we're going to look to, I think, what do we say, once a quarter, Tanya? We'll try to meet like 4 times in the 2019 school year. So it could be like an hour and a half after school. And so we will see what we can do with the time given during the day, and then if not, we'll come up with dates already set up so that you'll know. And if it's too much and this is like a commitment that you feel like I cannot stay after school, or I don't want to get pulled out of my class any more than what I already am, we totally understand and respect that. But we do want to grow the conversation, so we are going to need some actual contact time. That was one. So meeting up physically, right? And then the other was the goal of building something similar to what Redwood has, and what Caitlin's looking to build in our buildings, and kind of creating that team, that in-house team in our building. So like, it sounds like St. Cloud, Dick, you're working on that too. But trying to designate 3-4 individuals along with your administrator that have access to an account that then they can tweet from, so that it's not just on one person's shoulders, because it becomes a lot if you're like the sole person for your building that is sharing news or tweeting. So start to think about like who would be those individuals that you could team up with at your buildings, and then however we can support it. The other thing is, I know I've spoken to Tim about bringing the Redwood Tweets team outside of their building to meet up with other buildings. So to kind of share their story and how they go about doing what they do. I mean, they have their own in-house challenges, the leadership quotes, that it's so great because I get them on my feed. So we're looking to see if we can build that out. Maria, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna just respond to what Tanya had just said too. Our team is composed of 4 teachers, so it's myself, Len Ford, who's 4th grade. I'm 5th grade. Andrea Ramel, who's our band teacher, and then Kristen Mindo, who is a resource teacher. So it kind of works well to have people from different areas, and I definitely recommend getting somebody from like band or gym or library, whatever it is, involved, because it helps. Like leadership quotes, I'm also on a separate committee, a climate and character committee, and it worked out that Andrea's on that committee with me. So her and I were able to split up on TweetDeck the tweets that were coming out every month. And that would be a lot if it was just on me, but having other people to go to is really helpful for that. And Tim's idea too was to almost have like a theme of the month every month, where we could kind of, again, break that up and then tweet it out. Something we had done at the end of last year. Like I know each of us like took a week and we're tweeting stuff out using TweetDeck. So it's definitely very manageable. And I think having at least 4 people involved is a great idea.
And Redwood's one of the bigger schools. So yeah, it's kind of a good model. I mean, not that it has, I mean, you don't want to get it too far out, because then it's like too many hands in the pot.
And that's true too. That's happened to us too. Like at assemblies, I know the last one we had, the Veterans Day assembly, I think Kristen Mindo and I were both like tweeting stuff out, and then like Len had saw it, and he, then he didn't tweet anything. But sometimes, right, if there's too many, then like almost like too much stuff is coming out or it's duplicated. So
yeah. So you want to think of, sometimes it's like just live tweeting in the moment, but then other times it's like to be intentional. Right. So we definitely want to, that's like a goal of ours. It would be, if we could just move the needle a little bit, would be to establish a team at every building and have them do the work that where, it'll look different in every building, because Redwood Tweets is, reflective of their culture. So, and then the other thing is just to kind of drum up our participation in our chats. Now we have one last chat coming up. One new finding that we came up with is that this past week we had, it was Wednesday and it was Thanksgiving Eve. But I was like, no, it's every 3rd Wednesday of the month, and we will do every 3rd Wednesday of the month. And we loved the topic. Diana, we didn't actually, there was no topic no one took November, and NCTE came out with these beliefs about integrating technology, and just like putting on our nerd emoji glasses, we were just like, oh my God, this is such a great document. Literally like 4 people were on the chat. It was like, because we actually get the stats. And, you know, the day of, even Tanya was like, Diana, I don't know. Like, they're like, no, NCTE, they've retweeted it. There's going to be lots of people. I'm going to be there. No, they weren't. So the learning there is turning, yes, committing to the every third Wednesday of the month, because the hope is that it becomes a thing, right? And people are like, oh, it's Wednesday and it's Woe to World and it's the third Wednesday. Yay, let me connect with those teachers. But on weeks where there's a holiday or something, either you cancel, or what we're attempting to do is do a slow chat. So every day at 11 this week, Monday through Thursday, we're just going to throw out the 4 main questions. We saw other organizations do that work. I was like, no, well, people will be there. So, just learning, figuring all that out, which is, to be expected. But anyway, what we wanted to do was to see if, what your thoughts were on all of us as a Twitter team. I mean, there's probably about another 10 or so committing to, over the next year, 2019, at least 4 Twitter chats saying, I will be there. Not even I will be there, but I will post answers to the questions on my tweet deck, even if you physically can't be there. So we're thinking, is that, something you would consider doing? Is it too much to ask for? Go. Crickets. Except spring break. What's the Yes. I don't, is that a third Wednesday of the month? I hope not. Totally doable. Okay.
Just guys, if it's faster, just say, in the chat. You can just tell us whether you can commit or not to the 4 times, or if you think that that's extreme or whatever.
So I missed the question because I was typing. Sorry. Can you repeat that? Sorry, Diana.
We're looking to see if we can have the team sign up for 4 chats throughout the year to be a participant, whether it's answer, like if you can't be there live, then tweet decking it out to like just have responses. We want to try to really rally and grow, because we've been at that number anywhere between 30 and 40. I think 43 was like the highest number. And not always is it West Orange. Sometimes we get some outside people, which is exciting. But that was the question. So it seems like it's pretty much a doable thing.
I had an idea where maybe like making like a save the date card that you could share, so people are like planning for like months in advance. They can just like put it in their planner and then see like, oh, I can't do something that February. Sorry. I can't do something that February because I know I'm going to be doing the chat. So like one of those like things that they can just screenshot. I'm like, oh, that's the dates for the rest of the year.
For the rest of the year, like the 2019 dates kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't work those out
yet.
Just
a plan, because I know for me at least, I was like, wait, what day is it again that I'm supposed to? And then I just never looked, and then I never wrote it.
Okay. So save the dates, 2019.
Yeah, like a New Year's resolution. Like little calendar.
Okay. Do you guys like the themes or the question? We actually have to replenish our calendar for next year, so we need people to in pairs host, and we want to make sure that the questions feel intriguing enough to draw you in the conversation. And we were also thinking that it might be cool to have some vertical teaming,
So like co-hosting with a secondary member, or, like kind of teaming you up cross grade level.
Mm-hmm.
I know, yes, and Bev, you are on with Steph Ross. I saw that your questions are already there. So I hope you're there. But I'll make those question cards up for you and then JPEG them so you can have them and tweet them out.
Does everyone feel solid on how to schedule tweets and do that whole thing with TweetDeck, or like would anyone want some review of stuff, or
This group is good? Okay. I mean, we could set it up too with the others and just reach out to them to see what they need. But Tanya, you've been checking off on the Google Keep?
Yes, I have.
Because we had one of those. It's like, wait a second. Okay, cool. So it's getting done. We hit what we wanted to hit. Basically, we'll be in touch with you sometime in December. Hopefully we'll schedule a meeting, I guess, with Ebony to see if we can get sanctioned some dates for you to come out and spend half a day. Oh wait, what Bev? Okay, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. So we'll come back with some dates. We'll work it out. Hopefully we'll get at least before the end of the year 2 half days where we can kind of get together. We will generate some sort of spreadsheet. I'd like for it to be an in-person meeting where we talk again and then start to think across the year what topics or who's going to moderate with who. I'd like to be able to set that up, but it may not happen until February based on our conversations. But we'll set out some dates, and I'm thinking, what else, Tanya?
I just want to keep being mindful of working the Woda World hashtag, because it's a very exciting and easy way for me to see what's happening vertically in the elementary schools in particular. I really appreciate when you guys are working it. And I notice now there's a whole influx of hashtags that people are using, and sometimes some things get used and other things don't. I can miss a lot of tweets, when the hashtags aren't incorporated. It also seems like in some schools there are people who are tweeting, but it almost feels like it's a decision not to use that hashtag for whatever reason. Maybe they think, oh, I'm doing my own thing. I don't know. I hope we don't lose it. I feel like we made some inroads with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, just check in with your people in your building and remind them. One thing I do, if I see something but it wasn't hashtagged Woda World, I will just retweet and then retweet with comment and add the Woda World. Maybe they didn't want it to be part of it, but if it's so good, I want other people to see it, so I just push it out that way. But anyway, we will be in touch again. This is TBD, TBC, to be continued, not to be determined. But I really, truly appreciate you guys being on this call. I know it's beyond the hours of the day. Again, more testimony to how this profession is really a calling. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate your time, and we will be in touch. Any other parting thoughts?
From Len, I wish there was a way to incentivize it for others to get their numbers up. Caitlin did a really good thing at Gregory where what was your Dunkin' Donuts thing you did, Kate?
I think it was the month after we met, I did like a raffle, and I said, if all you have to do is just make a Twitter, and they had to go on a document and like write their name, their handle. And I swear to God, Stella Gemis, who is not very tech savvy, if you know her, was in 5th grade at the time, and her kids were helping her create it. And her kids made her follow like Harry Styles and all the members of One Direction. And she came in, she was like, I have these people following me, and she was freaking out. But we got a good amount of people to sign up. Now, most of those people have like no picture and no whatever, but it did at least get people to create an account. And then I just did like a $10 Dunkin' Donuts gift card and we raffled it off. So that got a lot of people to sign up, but I couldn't get them to kind of take the next step.
Well, now you know what the next, we could work on how we can get that next step. And speaking of the next step, so you may want to get people in the spirit. We're going to do the 12 days of Twitter. Tanya, did you share the file with them on the?
No.
Okay, it's okay. So you'll see it. It'll be in draft. It's just to do something different. I think it starts the 3rd or the 4th of December. It's not the weekends. It'll just be 12 days leading to the winter break. I think it ends on the 20th, that Wednesday. So, I encourage you to partake and have fun. We love Twitter challenges at Redwood. So, Redwood will be bringing their game. So we'll share the doc with you. You could check it out. If you have any other suggestions, basically we took it from someone else. So we're going to make it our own. And if you have any suggestions for some sort of challenge instead of something else, let us know. We definitely have to start pushing this out. I would say, Tanya, since it starts on Monday.
I'll work on it tomorrow. I'll work on it.
So then we'll email all faculty groups, but we'll also push it out through Twitter. And because of your suggestion today, Instagram, and we'll think about how to also push it out with Facebook Woe Schools. I'll talk to Perry or email him and see if we can get him to promote it that way. So that'll be a little bit of fun. It's just the 12. There's no prize. It's just for fun, for shiggles, as they say.
What about the days that we're off? Like a challenge. It's like, is that like too challenging for people to post when they're like on vacation? I figured it would be like.
It's the days leading up to break and the last day will be the 20th, and there's no weekends.
Oh, no weekends. That's right. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, don't worry about tweeting on the break. Only if you want. So, all right. I think we all have to go. Shiggles. We'll all be in touch. So great talking to you. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.